shut up. I said you talk too much. Oh boy, you never shut up.
You like clickbait? I do. How else am I supposed to know what the next big leader is in this game? It seems that with any space of YouTube, there's going to be a segment that invokes some kind of clickbait. It's only natural though. Clickbaiting is a great way of farming engagement for your channel. There's hundreds if not thousands of videos on this topic already, but none so far in regard to the One Piece card game. Now, clickbait has been a staple on this platform for years. Depending on what you watched and what era you were watching, the amount of clickbait on YouTube seems to have been toned down since then. Or maybe it's just glossed over now since people slowly decided to accept it. Usually, clickbait's pretty harmless. It starts with you clicking a video, and ends with you watching the video you clicked, whether you enjoyed that experience or not. And the only thing that happened was the creator got more engagement for their channel, and you wasted your time. Now, I could go into a deep dive as to why that may be the case, and why people make clickbait videos, but that's more psychological study than necessary for a video about shiny pieces of paper. But in a space for a card game, I suggest that this kind of content is an issue. You see, card games are ultimately about competition, and knowledge is power. Knowing how to navigate certain matchups between leaders is often the difference maker. But you know what else is power? Money. No, I'm not arguing over the accessibility and inflated pricing of Japanese cardstock, even though prices have fluctuated since the incident. There are people who won't get to play a deck because they're priced out due to card hype and certain investor types. At least not until a short printed reprint set comes out. But that's another topic for another time. No, instead my argument stems from flocking people into potentially wasting their money. This hobby is ultimately one expensive competition, where spending all of your valuable time at a job you may hate goes towards paying for artificially limited cardstock to play against others who have done the same thing. How does this tie us back to clickbait? Easy. If I were to make a video about a particular leader, and I claimed it was the best thing since sliced bread, and it beats all the other best things since sliced bread, then what people do is flock to assemble that deck. If done across multiple creators and multiple videos, then the consensus is that the deck's good. But Upstart, Purple NL is the greatest deck since sliced bread. Yeah, for now. But my argument doesn't apply to only the obvious. I'm talking about across the board here. This particularly applies to not so relevant leaders and cards. I understand wanting to show off how you beat a meta deck with your rinky-dink unknown configuration, but not at the cost of lying to people. The instinct to want to cheer on the underdog is in all of us, but it's also in human nature to want to win. This goes hand in hand when showing off an underpowered leader win a stakeless game against some random person playing on their 30-minute break in an unofficial simulator. Now admittedly, I do have one thumbnail that can be called clickbaity, but it's also very clearly sarcastic. Originally, that video was going to be a discussion over the concept of matchups and how despite matchups being hopeless, it's ultimately a combination of knowledge and luck that determines whether you can win. But instead I decided not to do that and just keep it simple. But then again, what's the difference between mine and those other thumbnails? Simply put, it was the obviousness of it. I didn't advocate that Black Purple Luffy was a meta slayer, or that it's broken. That's the difference. Speaking of which, I hate the term meta slayer. At worst it's a lie, and at best it's overstated. If I had a dime for every deck that could slay the meta, I wouldn't need a job. I scoff and roll my eyes at these kind of posts every day, but I know better, and I'm not willing to take everything at face value. But that's the thing. There are people who are new to the hobby and don't know the pitfalls, so they walk into this hobby willing to trust opinions of people they don't know for guidance. Couple this with what I said earlier regarding the costliness of the hobby, and any one of those videos could have potentially made a person waste their money and time. Now I bet you're asking, what's the solution? To that, I don't know honestly. You could cross-reference everything I said in this video to anything on YouTube and still come up with nothing. I don't have any authority to implement any kind of regimental change, and if I did, I wouldn't know what to do for the fact that despite everything, I'm not a specialist in this kind of thing. All I can do is give you a primary prevention strategy, and advice to avoid obviously clickbait content. What do I mean by this? Just don't click on videos of people who are intentionally misleading. That's all you really can do, because no matter how much you do, it's always going to exist. All things considered, this issue I brought up isn't as bad as it could be. In the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter at all. But it's not all doom and gloom. Just like me, you have some shiny paper to play with.